Are we going to lose our news? Hi everybody, I'm attorney Ian Corzine, and this is the Heart of the Matter. Today we're breaking down Article 11 of the European Union's Copyright Directive. And I can guess what you're thinking. How the heck does this proposed law in Europe affect me? Well, in two ways. If Article 11 passes, then Europeans' access to news on social media platforms will be drastically reduced. And if Article 11 passes, countries like America, Canada, Australia, and other free societies, they may have legislators that are tempted to pass similar laws which would limit our access to news on social media platforms. And that is something that we may want to talk to our politicians about. But before we jump into the politics, we gotta talk about what Article 11 actually is. In 2009, German newspapers banded together and they approached German parliament asking for a law that will require social media platforms like Google and other social media aggregators to pay a fee to German newspapers every time they displayed on their webpage a headline and a news story snippet. What the heck is a news story snippet? That's the beginning of a news story, the first line or two that explains the basics of the news story. The law passed, but Google and other social media platforms, they didn't pay. So in June of 2014, the German newspapers got together and they sued Google. They said they were entitled to 11% of all monies that Google recouped by displaying the headline and the news snippet. So what happened? Google stopped displaying the news snippets, traffic to German newspaper websites plummeted, and finally the German newspapers had to drop the lawsuit and settle with Google and say, yeah, you can display our headlines and our news snippets for free. That's what Article 11 is. In 2019, European Parliament will get together and decide whether or not they want to pass a law that requires social media platforms to pay a fee to newspapers for display of headlines and news snippets. Before we get to the debate, how would you vote on Article 11? Would you say yes to the law? Would you agree that the newspapers have copyrights in the stories that they typed up and made themselves? Or would you say no, the law is unworkable and would hamper the free expression of news? Supporters of Article 11 say that current copyright law doesn't do enough to protect the authors of news stories. If they're spending their time, their effort to research a story, then they should at least get a piece of the money that the social media platforms are making for display of news snippets. Opponents of Article 11 say that passage of the law could significantly hamper the access to news and the freedom of expression of news. They say Article 11 is going to boost fake news. That's because the news from reputable sites is going to cost money. So social media platforms will probably be more tempted to publish news that's free, and news that's free often is worth what you pay for. Opponents of Article 11 also say the law is just gonna fail. It was demonstrated in Germany. Once German newspapers said you have to pay a fee, Google said no. They shut down traffic to the German newspaper websites. That wasn't good, and so the German newspapers went back and said, listen, you can display our stuff for free. So what's my take? Article 11 is an ill-conceived law that's already failed in Germany and Spain. I'll put a link to a newspaper article that explains what happened in Spain, but the bottom line is the law is not gonna work. And I don't like laws that are not gonna work. I certainly respect the right of newspapers and newspaper writers to have copyrights and to get paid for what they do, but this is not the right way to do it. What the EU fails to recognize is that Google is actually providing a service here. It's advertising the news stories of newspapers. So when you click on the news snippet, it takes you to the newspaper website. This is not a situation where Google's making money off the substance of the article. At the newspaper website, they're free to have any kind of ad they want to make any money they can to recover for the hard work of the newspaper and the writer. This is not a situation where Google's making money off the substance. They're merely advertising news stories. If anything, the European news publishers should work out a deal with Google and other social media platforms. They should do a deal where they share revenue for increased visibility of their articles on Google, and that way both parties can be appeased. So that's what I think, but more importantly, what do you think? Do you think Article 11 is a good law? Do you think that Article 11 should be voted down because it's not going to work? Whatever it is, let me know in the comment section below. For more in-depth discussion on the subjects we talk about in the Heart of the Matter videos and free legal templates, I would love for you to join the Heart of the Matter Facebook group. You can find a link to that group in the description section below. For more videos on the legal side of social media, push that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell button, and you'll be notified every Wednesday when a new Heart of the Matter video comes out. Today we talked about the pros and cons of Article 11 from the EU's Copyright Directive. What the heck is a copyright? If you want to learn about copyright law and fair use, you can watch my video on it by clicking the card right there. All right, we'll see you next time.